You know, I finally remember every time we go to Blockbuster and look through the new release wall and notice that there's a lot of straight-to-video movies. There would be a big section of new release and then a bigger section of straight-to-video movies I had never heard about. And most of them were bad, but there's a couple that are actually pretty good. And I'll be talking about them today on the best top 5 straight-to-video movies. So number 5, we have a movie that came out in 2006, and the movie's called Unknown. Not to be confused with the movie with Liam Neeson that's also known with the title of Unknown. This movie stars Jim Caviezel and Joe Pantoliano. The movie came out straight to video, and it has a really good production values. It's basically a group of people wake up in a warehouse, and one is tied up, one is lying close to a pipe. They're all scattered around, and they don't remember how they got there, who they are, or what's going on. Through flashbacks, we learn that there was a heist that took place, and someone between that group of people is either a cop, is either the person who planned the heist. No one knows, and that's up to you to decide who did what. It's a movie that went under the radar, and I mentioned this movie to a lot of people, and they never heard about it, and it's actually a pretty good movie. If you're into heist films, if you're into like thrillers and crime movies, you will definitely have a good time with Unknown. It makes you think, and I don't know why this movie never came out in theaters. I enjoy this movie quite a bit. For number 4, we have a movie that came out in 2011, starring Cuba, Quiero bailar la salsa, Gooding Jr., and the movie's called The Hit List, released in 2011. This movie came out straight to video also, and I was surprised. It's not the best movie in the world. It also has Cole Hauser, who I was like, where the hell did this guy go? He used to be in the movie Pitch Black, and now he's doing straight to video. But I saw this movie because of Cuba Gooding Jr. I was curious to see if he was okay doing an action movie. Because the type of movies I had seen him in before are stuff like Radio, Men of Honor, movies like that. I've never seen him doing action. So I saw The Hit List and I was surprised. He actually plays the villain in this movie. In the poster, it looks like he's the protagonist, but he's actually the antagonist. And apparently he's this big hitman. And he's drunk and he goes to a bar and there's a guy sitting there and he's having problems in his life. And he has a whole bunch of people that he just hates, his wife and all these other things. And they start talking and he goes, you know what? Write to me on this paper the top 5 people that you hate. Like a best top 5. The top 5 people you hate.
That's the next one.
It's the next one, yeah. The top 5 people I want to kill, I want to axe.
Number 1, ODG.
Yeah. Yo, is your boy ODG? He writes a list of the people that he wants to, if in a perfect world, he would just kill. So the guy, who's a psychopath, Cuba Gooding Jr.'s character, takes it seriously and starts killing off all these people, literally all these people that are friends of his who he doesn't like. And it all spirals out of control because he's trying to stop this guy from killing the number 1 person on that list, who is his wife. So it's not the best movie in the world. I understand why it didn't make it to theaters because of the production value. And some of the acting is kind of bad, especially the wife. But the movie on its own, it's entertaining. I like it. It's definitely a movie that you can watch while doing something. It's a fun movie. For number 3, I have the Arthur Theory. Hey, hey, what a wonderful kind of day. We can learn to love and play and learn to love each other. No, it's actually not called the Arthur Theory. It's called the Auteur Theory. And it's a movie that came out in 1999, starring Alan Cox. Alan Cox. I have such a low standards in humor. Alan Cox and Natasha Lyonne. If the name Natasha Lyonne sounds familiar, it's because she was in American Pie and is also in the hit show on Netflix, Orange is the New Black. The story revolves around a guy who wants to be a filmmaker and he needs finishing funds for his film. And the film is about a group of filmmakers showing a film in a film festival and they're competing for the big prize. But everyone has their own ego and they're slowly killing each other off, but you don't know who the killer is. That's all in large. Who is killing who? It's a good movie to watch if you're a big cinephile. If you like foreign films, if you like Quentin Tarantino, Spike Lee, Martin Scorsese, all these guys, because they make a lot of references to those directors in this movie. It's very corny, it's very cheesy on purpose, it's very satirical in a sense. It's pretty short, it's about 75 minutes. And it was shown in Sundance, but it never got a big release. It was just went straight to DVD, and actually went straight to VHS and then DVD, and no one has heard about this movie since. I enjoyed it. I first saw this movie, I think it was in '99 on Showtime. They play the film, and I really enjoyed it. I watched it several times within the year. For number 2, we have a movie with Jean-Claude Van Damme.
Is it an action movie?
Yes.
Oh.
What are you expecting? Of course, it's total Van Damage. Yeah, it was pretty bad. Number 2 on the list is Universal Soldier Regeneration. It was a movie that came out in 2009, and at the time, people didn't know if this was a sequel to the original, if this is a sequel to Universal Soldier The Return, so I'm here to clarify all that. It is a sequel to the original. It is ignoring both Universal Soldier The Return, it's also ignoring the 2 movies that came out for the movie channel back in the 90s, which did not star Jean-Claude Van Damme. It starred another actor. I think the movie was called Universal Soldier 2, Brothers in Arms, and Universal Soldier 3, Unfinished Business. One of them had Gary Busey in it for some reason. It ignores all of those. So it's a direct sequel that takes several years after part 1, and it has Jean-Claude Van Damme trying to still adapt to society. He's a guy who was reanimated. If you don't know the story of the original movie, a bunch of soldiers died in Vietnam. They're brought back to life, reanimated, and they're put in the line of duty to take out terrorists. They're basically a tactical unit that they can control. They think they can control, but they go haywire. Specifically, Dolph Lundgren's character and Jean-Claude Van Damme, who wants to go back home. Like, the whole movie's like, I want to go back home to see my family. My family. Anyway, that's my terrible Jean-Claude Van Damme impersonation. For Generation, the whole movie, it centers more on a group of people that are trying to bring back the Unisouls, that's what they call the Universal Soldiers, back into action, trying to see if they can control them, and once again, they go haywire. They even clone Dolph Lundgren's character from the first movie, and again, he goes haywire, and they need only one person who can stop all of this, Jean-Claude Van Damme. They bring him into duty, and the rest of the movie is pure action enjoyment. This movie has a really cool action sequence where Van Damme is literally just shooting a whole bunch of people. There's tanks everywhere, and it's almost kind of like a single tracking shot for a large portion of it. And he runs out of bullets, he just grabs a knife, starts stabbing people. It's really, really good. And this movie could have come out in theaters. I don't know why it didn't come out in theaters. They had another sequel called Universal Soldier Day of Reckoning, which I recommend watching. It's nowhere near as good as Regeneration, but it's still pretty decent in comparison to the garbage that we got in 1999 known as The Return. It was because of that movie that most of all of Van Damme's movies went straight to DVD afterwards. So for number 1, what can top Universal Soldier Regeneration? Well, Pauly Shore.
Pauly Shore's Regeneration?
Fuck. So for number 1, we... He doesn't need regeneration.
No?
No, he doesn't need it.
All the drugs he's taken, he already regenerated.
For number 1, we have a movie that came out for the Sci-Fi Channel, and it went straight to DVD afterwards. This movie was produced in the UK. It's a great movie. It's called Dog Soldiers. If you're a fan of horror, you are going to love this movie because they have a lot of great gory effects. It's all practical. There's really no CGI in this movie. It's a group of soldiers. They're out trying to stop something that's out there, and it's a bunch of werewolves. Like, they look like dogs. I don't know how to describe them, but it's really a fun movie to watch. The way I can describe this movie is just pure action enjoyment mixed in with horror. So those are my top 5 direct-to-video movies. Is there any movie I missed? Please make sure to leave it in the comment section down below. Click the like button, comment, subscribe, and share with everyone you know. And I'm Vest Guy. This was Vest Top 5. Hope you enjoyed this video, and until next time.